the Challenge Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. We are here to talk about episode 7 of the Challenge Double Agents. I'm with Trace Armstrong and Rob McIntyre. You can, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can subscribe to us on Apple. What else do we have to plug? If you want to send us any questions, comments, or concerns, or listener emails, you can reach us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com. We'd love if you'd leave us a rating and review on iTunes. You can buy Challenge Chronicles merchandise at bigdubdiesel.com, dub with 2 B's. And episode 7, phenomenal episode. What did we think?
I didn't think it was as good as last week, but I still thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Dude, I kind of thought this one was better.
Really?
I don't. I think that the daily challenge was a bummer because people decided not to compete, whereas last week everybody was competing. So
yeah, I think this one was more predictable. That was what I would say, is that this one, like, I mean, Jay was saying he was going to go in from the second the episode started.
They kind of tried to tease, and I mean, I say that off the bat. I need to think about how I actually feel, like process it a little bit more, just because I watched this like 10 minutes ago. But they definitely tried to tease a little bit that there would be a possibility that Darrell would be thrown in. And they even kind of, I don't know if the editors did this intentionally or unintentionally, but they gave Darrell a little bit of a visibility spike, and they kind of had to because his name was being thrown out there. But then Amber, they also gave Amber B some confessionals that they edited in during the challenge and kind of before the bubble night that made me like think that, oh, Darrell's going to get thrown in. You know what I mean?
Okay,
they kind of like
I thought the same thing about Devin, because this didn't really continue into the episode when she started getting into fights. But like for the first half of the episode, he just kept on commenting on stuff. I kept on going to him for stuff he wasn't even involved in. So I was like, oh, is Devin going home? And they're trying to like I was looking for somebody else besides Jay to go home, just because of how much I felt like he was hitting us over the head with he was going to go home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everyone just had it out from. All right, so do we want to talk about?
I think we just have to start with the mission first, and like just what we think.
Dude, that's the last thing I want to talk about. Like,
well, I just say, what do you think even happened with the guys?
Do we want to talk about the drama with Teresa first, or do we talk about the elimination with Leroy and Jay?
I think real quickly on the mission, what do we think happened with the guys? Like, why didn't they try to knock each other off?
I think they were just scared of getting knocked off. Like, I really do. Like, I think they were like, I don't want to be the guy on national TV that falls off this thing, so I'm just going to play defense, and everybody played defense, and nobody played offense.
Because, like, Michi seemed to, like, fall off by himself, and then Jay and Leroy were trying to throw each other off, and I don't think any other guy, like, tried to move.
Nope.
I think they just thought, let's leave it up to the women and let them handle it. You know what I mean?
It's a weird strategy, though.
It's dumb. It's very dumb.
Especially on a guy's day. I don't get it.
It's a guy's day, and then also they went after the women, so they know which ones did well and which ones didn't. Like if you're Jay or Leroy, like, you know, okay, Mark Hunter did well, then I can stay on like that. If you're one of the other guys, you need to start making some plays.
We don't know if that's the order that it went in.
That's fair, I guess. But like if you I didn't notice. Usually I'm on the lookout for stuff like that, Devin, and when they would cut to the guys as like they were watching, they didn't look wet or anything.
I would say that I don't know. I have no clue. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I thought it was complete bullshit that they, like, after the fact decided to cancel their votes. But do you think do you think that they would have actually gone ahead and done that if it would have affected who was going to be put in? Because I don't think they would have. I think they just did that to kind of I
think they might.
I think they might as well, because it would be this huge twist, and it could have been the storyline of like, well, Teresa and Jay were going to go in, but because you guys F this up, Devin's going in.
It is also weird, though, like, wouldn't they have to do that before they show Leroy and Casey the votes, if the votes get canceled?
Yeah, because otherwise, like, it's what we talked about before, about the producers telling people on the show that something's going to happen and then not doing it, right? That's essentially what that would be. Like, they told Leroy and Casey that they were the ones voted in, that Jay and Teresa were the ones voted in by the house, and then they would be like completely pulling the wool over their eyes.
Yeah, I don't see that happening really, because also like Leroy and Casey were actually trying in the mission like that, and they're being punished for other people doing like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's a very weird. the more I think about it, the more I kind of think like you. Like I don't know if they pull that trigger if that actually happens, but I do think that maybe they just want to wield that cudgel because, like with these missions, there's only a few teams the few teams that are actually capable of winning that mission should realistically be the only ones trying. Like if you're in ninth, like if you're in seventh place, what's the difference between that and last?
What was the last like really like absurd twist that they pulled? Like just like really
Just
like
all of Vendettas and all of Final Reckoning.
well,
It's just
that's
all
what I was going to
bullshit.
say, and I was going to say not including like the entire season that is Final Reckoning. Like, but was that really the last time that they just really like were like jumping
I
the
mean,
shark like back and
so. I
forth?
think there definitely were like I mean to split up the pairs on War of the Worlds 1 was legitimately like a game changing twist. Like
Yeah, but that wasn't like that
it
wasn't
wasn't
like
like people got screwed up like that like
yeah,
people were doing something and they got completely screwed up.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I guess
Battle of the Exiled for Battle of the Exes 2 is really like
so
the
long
last
ago
one.
though. They've definitely done stuff like since then. Like
Well, I don't
think
feel
the
like
Purge.
they did.
I think the purges on both purges on War of the Worlds 2 were really poorly done. And like you expect there to be a purge, but for one to tie people into random partners into the purge so that they're befallen by some random person they get paired with, and then also how they did that where like the U.S. team in that purge in that first swimming purge, Ninja they didn't have Ninja participate because she was the worst swimmer on the team, so she should have been the one purged. But then she also didn't participate, so she couldn't have been purged. And then CT doesn't have to swim with a partner just because the numbers don't work out that way. That was just so poorly handled. And then the purge in the middle of the final, like you run the vast majority of the final. Then you do a purge so that each team only goes down to 4 players each. So then the U.S. team, which has been better, so they have more players on their team. Now those players are at a disadvantage because they're more likely to get purged out. And then also then the 4 people that are left are running the final, and then they're disadvantaged by people who aren't even there anymore. Like I thought those were both very poorly done.
That's not exactly what I'm trying to get at. I'm talking about just like something like really out of left field. Like
I know what you mean. In that they like with this one they really just kind of misled the cast, honestly.
I don't know. You know what? I think the last like out of left field, where the hell did this come from, really was the first purge that occurred on Invasion, where they purged rookies because there were just so many rookies and there were not that many champs left. And all of a sudden, we had never had a purge before. And all of a sudden, TJ's like, "Welcome to the purge." And it was like, "Oh crap, what is a purge?" And then it was like, "Oh, they're sending like 2 people home now, and then 2 people are still going into elimination." Like, holy crap.
Like if they actually went through with this tonight and it affected the vote, it'd be like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Like that, like when TJ first said that, I was going to be like, this is terrible.
This one would be honestly the most. If that happened, that would be more surprising, I think, than any of those previous things happening. Because like I feel like a purge, like they did it in Invasion, was always in the back of their mind. And I really didn't.
Well, they'd
like
never done that before, though. I disagree with that. Sorry, like
but that's something you always think about, though. Like when the Battle of the Exiled happened, it was always in the back of the cast's mind that something like that could happen.
What the same thing with I think.
No, in Battle of the Exiled, when they had like a second king, like other shows do that. Like they wouldn't think that's off the table.
I don't know.
I don't
at the time, that was really out there at the time. I feel like, and we talked about. I think we talked about this within the last couple episodes. That like I'm sure in the back of Wes's like head, he thought that could happen, but it's, you know what I mean. That it's one of those like, it's a non-zero possibility, like non-zero probability chance that.
So like I think this is honestly, it's not as game changing as even. But like it's not. I don't think this would have been as game changing as like even the War of the Worlds 2 purges. You know what was actually something that was really really bad on Vendettas? They do this. Actually, might be the worst one. A mission right before the final. The numbers had worked out where there were more men than women in the like towards the final. So they do that mission where you swing back and forth on the car between the pillars. And the mission itself was dumb as anything because they have different point values for the different columns you hit for whatever reason, which didn't make any sense. But then they run the mission, and then after the mission, they're randomly like, "Oh yeah, the one who got last was eliminated," and then Nelson just randomly gets eliminated.
Yeah,
it's one of the most
really don't like when
things.
that
honestly is probably the worst one. That was horrific. I was so upset about that. That made no sense to do that.
The entire seasons of Vendettas and Final Reckoning are the most poorly planned, most poorly put together, most unsatisfying seasons on the planet, in my opinion.
Sorry, everyone. We had some technical difficulties. We're back with you. Trace, continue what you were saying about Final Reckoning.
Yep. Basically, all I was saying is the only thing people remember about Final Reckoning is Ashley Mitchell took the money from Hunter because the rest of the season was so awful that no one remembers anything else. That's it.
I think it has its moments still. I think there's plenty of entertaining moments in Final Reckoning, even if it doesn't really make sense put together.
Rob, 2 years later, I still have not gotten through Final Reckoning. I have all of them purchased too. It's not like I need to even
you haven't watched the whole season?
Commit the money at this point. I don't think
it's bad on a binge. How much of it have you watched?
A good chunk. I think I need to go back and look, but I've seen how many episodes are in that season? 17?
Like 20.
Oh my
Literally like
God.
20.
And you know what's really bad is there's tons of episodes where literally nothing happens, and you might get a daily, you might not. You might get the last 30 seconds of an elimination followed by an hour and a half of just bullshit.
I stand by Final Reckoning. I think that there's plenty of moments that are entertaining. It's just the format of the season. It's like, what do we do?
We need to do a podcast on worst seasons, because when we did our seasons ranking, we only focused on top seasons. So it's not like we went from beginning to end.
It was not comprehensive. We didn't go from the number 36 all the way up. Well, I don't know how much we'd really have to be able to talk about the first 4 seasons. I feel like we have to just exempt those seasons from any discussion, really, because there's just those literally nothing happens.
I'm just talking about for the seasons that we've covered as a podcast. And I guess we should tell that to other people that are just recently picking us up. That's how we, as a podcast, initially got started. We only started to do recaps of current seasons as of Total Madness. What we did for the entire time before that is we recapped older seasons of the challenge. And if you go back in our feed, you can see recaps of we started
Battle
with
of the Seasons, and we've currently covered all the way through the island. And then we'll do the duel at some point. At this point, it's probably not going to happen until Double Agents is over. And I guess
Double Agents won't until April. So, I just think we have to. We're all have very fluid schedules that we're working with, so we'll just have to play that by ear.
Yeah, and the
really,
one thing
it boils down to time. We love doing this show, but Devin does a painstaking amount of research for the older shows of the past seasons, and we all rewatch the seasons right before we record. And so, the amount of work that goes into our show, you would be very surprised. It's a lot.
The amount of work that goes into the older seasons is much more than the amount of work that goes into the current seasons. For the current seasons, we pretty much have to
just do what I would do anyways, and I even take notes because I would take notes anyways for the fantasy scoring. So,
yeah, for the current season, we pretty much just watch it and then let it rip. The one thing that I was supposed to do at the start of the podcast, I forgot to do, is I guess we wanted to let everyone know that we do plan to discuss the, I guess, tentative release of the cast for the We Want OGs season. That will be a podcast that will probably come out, I would say, early next week, most likely, maybe middle, maybe end, somewhere in there. But we do plan to discuss it. The last couple of weeks, we've talked about it in our Double Agents recap. That'll be something that we'll give its own episode sometime next week. So look out for that. All right, cool. So let's talk about the conversation. And Rob and I already discussed this a little bit in part of a file that will be lost. But let's talk about the conversation between CT and Teresa. So, Rob, say again what you think Teresa's premise is here. What she tries to communicate to everyone in the house about what she said about Darrell.
Well, so what she tries to communicate to everybody else, or what she tries to talk about with CT?
No, what she tries to say to everyone else, because there's a difference.
So what she says to yeah, definitely. So what she says to everybody else, I think what she says to everybody else is that she just mentioned offhand that Darrell is going to be really hard to beat in a final of CT, and then CT took that and is now using it to say she is gunning for Darrell, which is why I think she was trying to say that she was just talking to CT about who is going to be hard to beat in the final. I think that's what she was trying to portray.
And that is not what happened.
And not at all. They were both equally in agreement Darrell needed to go.
And I think the editors did a very fair job of this. And I think that's why they edited it the way that they did. So Teresa brought up at the beginning of the episode in a conversation with CT, Teresa brought up what should we do for the next House vote, and she said Darrell. Right, she was the one who brought up Darrell and initiated. She put that out into the atmosphere. She put it into the universe, and then CT agreed and said, "Yeah, he's going to be really hard to beat in the final. He's probably who I would vote into." So this was really Teresa pulled the ball out. She put it on a tee, and then like CT hit it. And so I think it's a little bit. I don't know if she remembers completely 100% how that conversation took place, right? So maybe her memory of the conversation later on is different than what actually happened. But she definitely was the one who started the ball rolling.
Yep.
Well,
and you know what's really
just like, why does she care?
I don't know.
Why does she care if Darrell's going to hurt being fall? She could be running with Darrell for all she knows.
I know. It doesn't matter. And that's the one thing that I think I'm taking away from this season is everybody is wound up so damn tight. And there's just a part of me that's like, hey guys, it's the challenge. It's a friggin' game. There are going to be lies told. We have seen that already all season. People are gunning for everybody. And the only two people that I feel like have an airtight trust are Cam and Leroy, and everybody else could be fluid depending on the situation.
I think the Big Brother group is pretty tightly wound. I think
until
Teresa's trying to force it too much.
Well, I guess he's not part of the. He's not really. I was going to say until he rips the heart out of Corey and Nelson's chest, but he's not really. They're not really part of it.
No,
but Josh was pretty offended.
Yeah, Casey made the point that it would be better off if her Big Brother alliance was just other Caseys instead. She's having to deal with Fessy and Josh.
She's doing a pretty good job trying to keep those loons together this season.
She does a good job.
I mean, she won her season for reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
She just not getting the airtime that those guys get. I just think Teresa's trying to force it too much with these political decisions. Like she already has so many enemies. Why does she need to like? One thing I do think was interesting: if CT was spreading stuff around about Darrell, why didn't we see that at all?
Yeah.
Even just like a brief
I thought that too.
Even just like a brief flashback of like, hey, here's CT talking to Cam and Leroy about Teresa gunning for Darrell, or him talking to Darrell about it.
So if those conversations existed, that's definitely a shortcoming on the editor's part, just because that was the fundamental storyline of the episode.
But
right?
Teresa accused CT of that, and maybe it just got cut out, but he didn't even seem to deny that he told people at least that Teresa was gunning for Darrell.
Yeah, because he kind of, the way he acted, what he said is kind of true. He's like, did I tell Teresa that? Maybe, I don't know. That's the game. You kind of just tell the other person whatever they want to hear, and then do whatever you want when you're like, when you actually have to come time to like make a decision on your own. You know what I mean? Yep. That's the name of the game. Just tell them whatever they want to hear, and then do what's best for you. That's the game.
Don't be Josh and just starting fights with everybody.
What a loon. What a loon.
He kind of had a lull last episode and part of this episode, and then just came back with.
Well, they knew they had Josh content to run for every eepisode he's on. So like, we got to give the people one episode break from Josh, and then we'll bring him back the next episode. Paul and I were talking about this on Twitter. How does he not get kicked off for that push?
COVID. That's exactly what it is. They've had so many people go home for injuries. I think they just didn't want somebody else going home. So they gave the classic, I'm giving you guys one warning, which they've done in past seasons.
Wes was still hanging around in ice and they could have brought him back?
Didn't we already get the warning?
We definitely got a warning already. And his push was like it was way worse than the push that got Kayla kicked off on Final Reckoning. And his was also super and his was also super calculated too, which I think is way worse.
Yeah.
He was behaving like such a child in that interaction.
Where were
Josh in a nutshell, though? He acts like a child on this show.
Like he's counting down, like he's like me with my kids when I was a camp counselor, trying to get them to behave. Like, what are we doing?
Where were the security guards? Because they were
probably breaking up some fight between Fessy and Kyle.
They were literally standing there when it happened, and after he pushed them, all of a sudden they get between them after that. I mean, they were literally standing right there because you can tell the security guards by the masks, and there were like two people with masks standing just off to the side.
So that was when there was the confrontation between Fessy, Devin, and then Josh was there too, kind of actually at that point in the fight, kind of trying to stand between them.
Well, Kyle was also fighting with Fessy, and then
Correct.
Josh actually like breaks it up, which I was like, oh, good for Josh. He's learning
Correct.
from Wes, like the breaking up fight tactics. Now that Wes is out of the house.
Unless it's between Danny and Brandon, where he gets like crashes into a dishwasher.
One thing I do want us to do as we get further on Wes's seasons, I want to keep track of how many fights he breaks up in each season he's on. Because like, if you look at any fight in any season, any fight in any season he's on, he's always the one trying to break it up. Literally without fail. So
there is a point in this fight where Josh is actually the voice of reason, where the security guards break up the fight between Kyle, Devin, and then Fessy, and then Josh is kind of standing there in between breaking it up, and Fessy and Josh go outside, and Josh is like, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. He gets him in bed, and then at some point Josh, of course, wanders his way back into the kitchen. Anise is talking with Kyle and Devin, and then Josh, they make some offhand comment to Josh, and Josh just fucking throws water on Kyle, and all hell breaks loose. And so I don't know where the security guards are at this point, but afterward is when like Josh is like giving Devin the countdown. Where are the security guards at this point? That's when I didn't see the security guards. I
think they're kind of like, dude, you've caused so much trouble for this. Please get kicked off. Like, please, like, let us like take a break from breaking up all these fights and have you not be on the show anymore.
How much do you think those guys are making?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Not enough, that's for sure.
Not enough. Yeah, definitely not enough.
With those lunatics, sometimes, man, not enough. But you know what's so funny? This was my immediate thought watching this whole scenario unfold. I feel like Josh made Fessy go to bed because he was stealing the crazy camera time, and there can only be one crazy Big Brother cast member at a time. So he put Fessy to bed so that he could retake his role.
Dude, you're supposed to be the quiet, like actually good at the game Big Brother player. You let me be the one who's getting.
I'm the hothead here. Let me go push Devin so I can reclaim that throne and get some more camera time.
I think that's your best take of the season.
That was what went through my mind immediately during that situation. I was like, oh my God. It was bad.
It's funny that they seem to actually be in a good spot, right? Like, why aren't they like the Big Brother people? There's only 3 of them right now. I guess Amber B's like tangentially with that group. If
you actually stick together in an alliance this season, it's going to get you somewhere because there's so many people that pretty much don't have. It seems like they're afraid to commit to a larger group. And I don't know why, to be honest, because there are the 2 largest group right now are the younger women, right? Or the newer women, and then the Big Brother Alliance. Those are the 2 roaring factions at this point, it seems like.
You know what's so insane to me?
I think a lot of that, Devin, is like a lot of those other people that aren't, and those groups haven't been like on seasons together and worked together. So it's just hard to meet up and link up.
Leroy and Cam. So do you mean the people that aren't aligned haven't been on seasons with those 2 groups? Is that what you're trying to say?
With those 2, they haven't worked with those people. I was saying more so with each other that are the other people that aren't aligned.
Well, that's why. So, like, I mean, we have that smaller group. Maybe they're aligned and we're just not really seeing it, right?
Because they're voting together though, and they're always ones getting voted in.
Because if you think, wait, say that again.
Well, but they aren't voting together, that group usually, and they're also the ones that keep getting voted in. Like the Big Brother group and the Itty Bitty committee haven't been getting voted in at all.
I know, but I'm talking about I'm talking about some very specific people. I'm talking about CT, Darrell, Devin, Kyle, Leroy.
I think Devin and Kyle pretty clearly are tied together.
Oh, they made it very clear tonight they were together.
Cam and Nani.
Kyle said in his confession they were working together.
But I think Devin and Kyle are tied together, but they're not tied together with that specific with anybody else in that group. And I think that there's a few very small groups within that.
I don't know. I think that's definitely an alliance. So I think this might be a group. I think it's Nani, Cam, Darrell, CT, Devin,
Leroy,
Kyle, and Leroy.
I don't think Devin and Kyle are in that group at all. I think Leroy is in that group, but I don't think Devin and Kyle are in there at all.
I don't think Devin and Kyle are in it either.
Because Kyle has that relationship with CT.
Do they have a relationship? Like Kyle voted him in the first vote, or who? One of them voted in each other as like towards the very beginning.
I think they traded back and forth. I think Kyle voted for
Maybe they
CT,
should
and then
have said before.
CT voted for Kyle the next
They
go round.
definitely voted for each other early on in the season, and they don't have that great of a relationship, really. Like,
I
CT
think
told the UK team on World of Worlds 2 to vote in Kyle.
yeah, but that might as well be like a lifetime ago.
Well, what did they do last season? CT was
It's
on
like-
but CT was on like 2 episodes last season.
I know, but I feel like they've talked about how they have some type of relationship with each other, and about they
I
like joke around with
think-
each other too.
I don't think. Yeah, but like everybody jokes around with everybody.
I don't think so.
Wes was
Teresa
joking around
doesn't
with
joke around with-
Fair and then put him in against Nelson that episode last season. Like,
Teresa
I
wasn't
don't
joking around
buy
with
that.
anyone this episode.
No, that's true. Teresa was not joking around with anybody.
This probably isn't too big of a hot take, but I really think that these last 2 episodes, Teresa is the MVP by far.
Oh, she doesn't have screen time. She's definitely been the most entertaining person the past 2 episodes.
And, I've been contemplating, like, why is she doing what she's doing when she doesn't have any political ties? Quite frankly, she don't need the money. Her husband's got money.
Oh, see, dude, I don't buy that. I think she's gunning for the win, and I just think she's already isolated, and if I'm isolated, let me knock out the biggest fish while I can.
She's how do I want to say this? So she is in a position where she is trying to go full Vlachos, but she's not capable of going full Vlachos.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
I don't even think that's what it is, really.
Like if
like Tony was working from the top pretty much like that whole time.
What do you mean? In Cagayan?
Oh, so I thought you were talking about last season when he like votes in.
No, I'm just talking about like she's trying to be in a position where she's trying to mastermind everything that's going on in the house and go back and forth between each side and work a bunch of different relationships. I don't know. I feel like people are seeing through what she's trying to do. And we get confessionals that speak to that.
I mean, she did seemingly get a lot of those women to throw that mission, even if she couldn't get Amber B to.
Well, for the younger women, right?
Yeah. The rookies very quickly were happy with that decision because it kept them out.
I don't even know if she's playing both sides because I don't think she's trying to work with like the Cams and the Nanis that much.
Well, I mean, before working with both sides. I mean, like pre the end of last episode or pre last episode, she was definitely trying to do that, and we heard a lot about that.
Yeah, that's true.
So what's interesting though is I think she's in a good spot though now. Like as bad as that sounds,
I don't know. If
I think she's in a good spot, and the reason why is okay. The biggest problem with her team is Jay is going to be a target for dudes who want to get a skull, and that bared out this episode. Now she's going to have a different partner, Corey, who isn't he's probably an upgrade from Jay right now, just because of the target standpoint. So even if they throw her in, what females are left that don't have a skull other than Casey, who is she really worried about going against?
I think Lolo. I think Lolo is a problem, but
Lolo, sure.
But I think against the rest of the women, I'd have to look at it a little bit more closely, but I'd probably have her as a favorite against them because I think like Cam obviously would have been a problem, but she's already got a skull.
Yep. Cam's got a skull. Anissa's got a skull.
Women that have skulls, right?
Yeah. And then, outside of that, I think...
I feel like she's got a very strong advantage against everybody in the itty-bitty committee just from a size and a physical standpoint. Amber B is probably the next person above that wave. And then you have Casey and you have Lolo. And that's it.
Yeah. So Corey
also just has like a veteran guile. I think that just gives her a pretty significant advantage over any of the younger people.
Mm-hmm.
Corey gave her maybe one of my favorite nicknames in the history of the show.
Oh, I like this a lot too. Toxic T.
Oh my god, it is so good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I just think it was pretty funny that they ended up paired after this episode when the beginning of the episode was Corey being pissed at her for putting him in.
Hey, one thing I did notice too is Cam's confessionals from this episode are from 2 different completely interview sets. Like
A different set?
Most of her confessions that aired tonight came from the same set for the last episode.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Then there were some observations towards the end where she's wearing a completely different outfit, completely different makeup, has a completely different tone. And I'm curious which came first. I have a feeling the second one came way later than the first one, just because of the emotion that was involved. It seemed like they filmed all of those right after she got her skull, and then the ones later in the episode that they showed, she was a little calmer. So I'm wondering if she'd had a little distance between winning that skull when that one was done.
The ones with Jay too. He was in that lumberjack outfit all last episode in his confessional.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting.
So what do we think about Leroy's decision to go down?
Oh, I think it was the right move, especially because not even because Jay I actually think was pretty good at that, but he's done that elimination before.
Oh yeah, Battle of the Exes too. He smoked Bananas and Nani. Like
he there was literally you would watch that and be like, I don't know. Like you could put an NFL level athlete in there, and I don't know if you'd get a performance that matches that.
Yeah. So now Leroy has done that before and dominated it. So the second he saw it, I don't care who's on that thing, he's going down.
Like I think Jay probably beats just about anybody else in the house in that. Honestly, like I thought he was.
I don't know, dude.
Leroy.
He would have beat CT.
He would have beat CT. I think he beats Fessy. I think Fessy's just too big. He beats Josh. Can you imagine Josh trying to do that?
Uncoordinated Josh trying to do that.
I mean, he definitely beats Josh.
I think he beats. Who do you think he's losing to?
Out of the men, I don't think he beats Darrell. Dude, I think why are we giving Jay all this credit? I don't get this.
I thought he was pretty good. I mean, I thought he was pretty good at it. And I think his build, that's something he'd be good at, like being a climber.
What do we mean we think he was good? Like, the editors were doing some heavy lifting there to make it look like that challenge was really close.
Probably, but I didn't think he would. I thought he. I don't know. I thought he was moving pretty well. He was
pretty close for the whole first half, but the moment Leroy turned around, Leroy just showed it.
Leroy had a great turn on that too. He had the perfect swimmer spin around and turn.
Dude, Mosley was just right there, making sure he got past that line. Just watching the line.
Whistle in hand, ready to blow.
So I think it was the right decision just because he was I honestly didn't remember about how good Leroy was at that, and that he had already done this before. So I was kind of I don't know if this is the one, but just looking at the rest of the guys left, that's pretty much the best shot he's going to get, right? Because it's.
I mean, he's still got Josh, like a Devin. I definitely think he can put in again.
Hold on. He has Michi and Jay are the weakest people left, right? So those are, I think, are his two best chances.
Do we think Devin's better than Jay, or Josh?
Uh,
I think Josh is definitely better than Jay.
We can see the inclination that Josh is better than Jay. Like, I know he's bigger than him, but like we've had like a bunch of power eliminations already.
I just don't buy Josh winning an elimination until he actually does it in a legit way.
So I would still in a general elimination, right? So if we did 100 different eliminations, I think Josh is going to beat Jay in more than 50.
I think you're just overestimating how many of them come down to size.
No, so he's going to. So this is the thing: he's going to win the ones that come down to size, right? And then he's still going to beat him in some of the other ones.
I don't know how many he beats him in some of the levels.
I don't know. Josh is pretty bad, Devin.
Dude, I don't think Josh is
good. Like, what has he done on the show?
I really hate Jay.
Like, what has he done on the show?
He won the mission last episode. He's beat CT in elimination.
Dude, that one against CT was such bullshit. Like, the set fell apart.
I think to say he's done, but like, what has Josh done then? Like, I think to say that Jay hasn't done anything on the show. Like,
I'm not saying Josh has done anything either. You know what I mean? I just think he can beat Jay.
By that logic, I think a lot of people haven't done that much.
No, I agree. That's fair. That's fair.
I don't think he's shown that. I think he's shown to be, at the very least, competent pretty much at any point he's been given the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think Jay had the quote of the episode about himself. He was basically like, "I'm a layup, Josh, and you are too. At least I admit it."
That was Devin.
Oh, that was Devin. Sorry. I was like, okay.
Would you take Devin over Jay and like the average elimination?
Probably not.
You could flip a coin.
Yeah.
You can.
I think Jay's just so much more of a natural athlete than Devin is.
if it's only a puzzle, I think Devin has a legit shot to beat him in most puzzles. But I feel like if there's anything physical or requires agility, Jay's got it.
I mean,
think
Devin
Devin
probably
will-
is a little bit just bigger than Jay, but I just
Yeah,
think
that's what I was
like
gonna
sort of
say.
athleticism based thing, I think I would favor Jay.
I think Devin is quite a bit bigger than Jay. Um,
Devin's definitely big because like the way most of the guys in the show are built, Devin doesn't look that big. But I think definitely gets like just the average dude. Devin's pretty big.
Yeah, I think I think Devin is actually probably around my size, but he doesn't weigh quite as much as I do.
I
He
don't think
looks
he's
like
as
a
tall as
guy
you.
that's like, well, I'm 6'1" ish, and he's probably right at 6 feet, if not, and he's probably around 205 to 210, and I'm currently hovering around 210.
I think it's in that spreadsheet with the
The height.
heights. I think I found that. Actually, I think I found his. Let me see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is 61.75 inches. So he is, what is that? 6'1"?
Yeah, so
What's
he's my
six-
size.
Yeah, you're right.
So one thing I thought was odd,
And he weighs 185 pounds.
why were the two votes only Devin and Gabby and Jay and Teresa? Why didn't like Jay and Teresa, Devin and Gabby, and then the rest of like that itty bitty committee be like, look, let's vote in either like Anissa and Fessy or Josh and Nani?
Rob, I'm pretty obsessed about finding Jace Roth's height right now. I'm going to find
Jay's
this.
like 5'6", 5'7". He's not very big. But
So it says he's 5'10", 5'10", 160. So
Jay
Devin
is
has.
5'10".
Dude, there's no way Jay's 5'10".
I know.
He's
this
in the
is
bananas
actually
height rate. I would
this
put
is
him at
one of
5'8"
those.
at best.
This is one of those Alan McGuire things, so that doesn't count. I think he may be speculating here.
Yeah, I think that's a speculation. If you were to put
I
Jay,
think it's going to take us a real deep dive to find that.
He said it was on some old modeling profile that he had. I need to find this. Keep going. I'll find this.
It's going to take the entire episode.
all right, well, let's get back into the voting thing.
Real quickly. Why do we think that Jay and Teresa and Devin and Gabby didn't like get basically the crew they had got together for the last vote? Why don't they just get that crew together again and vote in like Anissa and Fessy or Josh and Nani?
I wonder if Devin was just trying to stay out of the shrapnel because he knew if it wasn't Jay, it was him. Because if it was him or Jay,
but if that group all votes together, they probably have enough votes to get through.
Yeah, but who says the itty bitty committee's going to vote with those guys?
But Devin's a part of it. Devin has Gabby as his partner at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from an alliance standpoint that I think we're missing here. Because if this was me on the show and I had a skull, I'd be getting every other skull in that house together and being like, all right, guys, we all have skulls. We don't want to lose them. We should all be voting the same way and controlling who our competition is. Why are we letting these people get skulls that we don't want to get skulls? We could literally, put two scrubs in against each other so that a scrub has a skull. And then we can always throw Leroy in later to get his skull from a scrub and just keep CT out, keep Darrell out. Like, I just don't know why the skulls don't look at it that way.
That's actually, I think that's definitely a good plan. I just think once you get personal relationships involved with these things, those things go out the window. Like, is there like is there like the guys with skulls right now are Leroy, Fessy, Devin, and Kyle? Like, is Fessy working with Devin or Kyle?
No,
that's just not happening.
That's not happening. Fair enough. They could not agree on where to go eat, much less who to vote for.
Like, if I was those three, it's funny. I would probably try to keep. I think Kyle might not be bad in the final, but I definitely don't. I wouldn't mind having Devin around in the final to just keep around.
No, I'd be wanting Fessy out of that final. Like, I would not want to run against him. I know that he performed probably below what we thought he would in the Total Madness final, but there's a big difference in performing in snow when you're a big dude versus what a normal final looks like. I mean, they've only run in snow.
Well, but I think there's a decent chance they're in snow again, though. They're in Iceland right now. They're not leaving.
That's true. I just don't know. They've never done a back-to-back final with the same layout. So to me,
they've also haven't done a season in COVID before where they're so travel restricted. Like, usually they'd leave for the final, but they're not going to. They can't leave this season.
That's true. It's just people forget though that a lot of Iceland is not covered in ice. Flashback to D2 the Mighty Ducks. Greenland is covered with ice and Iceland is very nice. So there's my scientific observation for you.
Dude, what is going on with Michi Harris? Like, is he just a political mastermind and we're not seeing it, or people just?
I think Abraham's a political mastermind who's keeping his name out of people's mouths.
Or are people just fine having him around because they know that he's going to be good to throw in and
He's
get their
a
skull
layup,
again?
man. They're keeping him around so that they can throw him in when they want a skull. That's what they. That's why he's there.
I think what's going to happen with that is like, then he's just never going to get put in.
Who, Michi?
Like,
he's going in. He's going in.
Yeah, but obviously he's not never going in. He's going to get put in at some point. But until maybe if a skull wins the mission, but just like if the person who won the mission is somebody who doesn't have a skull and I know they're going to put themselves in, why would I just give them Michi?
I mean, that happens. We've seen the house give the person who wins the mission who they want between last season and this season.
What was the example of that last season?
Let's go back and look. I know we've seen that.
It was basically every vote that happened because they were all so miserable in the bunker.
That's a good one. That's a good example.
I also think last season there wasn't like the screaming layup like there was this season. Like once Asaph was gone, I don't think there was anybody you looked at it as much as you would look at Michi, or even I don't think there was that level of disparity in competitors. Like what? Like if Michi is like up there against Darrell, like what are the odds you're giving Michi?
Very small.
Not good. But
I mean, quite frankly, other than Fessy, I would give Darrell better odds against most everybody else, except for maybe Leroy, depending on the game.
Oh no, I'd favor him pretty decently over Leroy in most things.
You're saying there's not a lot of layups this season? Let me look at the cast.
No. Last season, I don't think there was as huge a disparity in level of competitor. Like even like Swaggy C was at least like tall and had size. It wasn't Michi who was small.
Yeah, I would agree. And then Leo too for this season. I agree.
Yeah, Leo's not here anymore, so that must have just been what it was with Josh, right? They just can't have this many people be quitting the season.
So if they didn't have 3 people already get hurt, would they have kicked Josh off?
They had Leo leave, and they've had 3 women quit, and they had to bring Ashley back.
And then Leo left.
Yeah, that's 4. I was hoping that Josh would get DQ'd and they'd bring Wes back. That would be very good for my fantasy stocks.
Yeah. Well, from what I heard from the Ashley podcast that have made the rounds, she was the only cast member who got eliminated that stayed in Iceland just to check out Iceland. So it was really easy for her to come back, get tested, and then go back in the game. Like apparently she quarantined.
You got to pull. Man, do you ever listen to Teresa talk about the time where she went back to the States and then was flown back to
like literally she landed, went home, was in bed. Her mom wakes her up and says the MTV's on the phone, and they put her on a plane back the morning after she landed to go back to do that elimination and run the final. Like just absolutely insane.
Yeah, partnered with Leroy, who it does not appear like she'll be working with this season.
It's a fair guess.
So with the elimination, how surprised were you by TJ saying that they were going to cancel the votes?
Shocked.
Extremely.
I was stunned. I was like, oh my God.
Because it's idiotic.
It's just so out of nowhere. And then did you think it was going to change the result?
No, I didn't think it was.
I thought there was a chance.
I initially did. It was weird for me for them to make a show of it and then have it not change the result.
Yeah. Well, I was counting how many dudes actually voted for that, and it was mostly women that voted for Jay and Teresa. So I was like, okay, this isn't going to change.
Yeah, it was hard for me to do the calculus on that just off the fly. But yeah, I thought I was really surprised by that.
I think it was just for show. I don't think they do it if it would have affected the votes.
Well, what happens if next episode something similar happens?
Then they might actually follow through. The precedent is set.
Yeah.
So then they would do it, and they're just like, "Well, you guys, we already told you about this. You shot yourselves in the foot again."
Yeah.
But I guess the thing is, everybody outside of Leroy and Casey doesn't know that was already the vote in.
So does this mean? I don't know how I feel about this, or I guess I don't like it because now this means that you just can't throw missions, right? Or you have to make a show of
No,
throwing
you just have
missions.
to
You
make, you
have
just have
to
to
be
make it look a little bit
creative.
better. I mean, he didn't get
I don't-
mad at the woman for just throwing themselves off the object when Teresa
Yeah.
was going at him.
That's ridiculous.
It
Like
was
it's the
more
same
the
thing.
Yeah,
fact
we're
that the
talking about the
dudes just
challenge, though. This is not the place for consistent rulings on
I
things.
know, but don't you agree with me? There's literally no
Yeah,
difference
I
between
agree.
what
Yeah,
they did. There's no difference.
I think
They-
the woman's is worse, honestly.
Well, now that I think about it, there is some precedent for what happened tonight. Back on Rivals 2, Wes and who was Knight's partner? Preston.
I know what you're talking
Refused
about.
to do that one challenge where they had to like hump a saw and then they had to like
The X Games challenge or whatever it was.
yeah, the only other way I can describe this is basically they were strapped to each other in a 69 type position and they had to walk. That's the only
We
way
don't
I
have
can
to go through
describe
the
it.
graphic details of that, but I know what you're referring
But
to.
essentially, TJ penalized both teams and made them go first in the next challenge. And it, is considered a disadvantage because most of those games were one team goes at a time type stuff. So there is a precedent of there being penalties for choosing not to compete outright. And those dudes on that thing didn't even try to move. They just sat there until the whistle blew or the horn blew. Whereas the people that at least made a show of falling off, at least they did something.
They
I
at
think
least
it's
give them something they can air, which is like really what they need.
and that's what they need. And the other thing that we're also not taking into account here is that the challenge has really started to take itself way too seriously in a lot of ways.
yeah.
And what I mean by that is they're really focusing on the competition and the politics and much less of fun and drama. And because they're trying to focus that the challenge is this legit competition show so that they can get people from Survivor and Big Brother to come on, when you have people choose not to compete, it kind of damages the credibility of what they're trying to portray the show as now. Like back in Inferno 1 and Battle of the Sexes 2, everybody was just there for a good time and a payday. Whereas now they're like, there's real money involved, there's real competition, you've got a politic. Like, I think it just kind of is a slap in the face of the cast of like, hey, you're not giving us a good show here. Do what you're supposed to do and give us a good show.
Where was
Kind of
this on Gauntlet 3 where we can get the guys to have an elimination randomly when it was a girls' day?
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Gauntlet 2. Remember when the first night the men refused to compete in the challenge that decided who was the team captain?
Oh, yeah.
And
When
they just
the
played
women on the veterans team did it as well.
Yeah. And so it reminded me of that. And then there was also just thinking about the times when people refused to compete. There was also the
the infamous Karamo incident on Inferno 2.
The snake in the water.
When like a large number of people refused to compete, it made me think sex is one.
The Inferno 3
right?
thing with like the grapes or whatever, where Bananas and Timmy and Alton refused to wear.
Where Timmy and Alton
that was
and like the rest
absurd.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What show do you think you're on? Like, it's like you guys are gonna act like you're holier than thou. You're on reality television.
Well, Beth did that too when she had to be on oil wrestling. When she did an oil wrestling competition against Teresa.
And how big is it?
For some reason, Alton, Timmy, and Johnny refusing.
It was Ace, not Johnny. It was Ace. Johnny did it. Sorry, it was Ace.
Okay, Alton, Timmy, and Ace refusing to compete in that. For some reason, that just like doesn't square with their characters. You know what I mean? That seems like one that you.
Timmy especially. Like, what are we talking about? Or I guess Ace. Alton, I can see it a little bit more, but Timmy and Ace now.
Ace had already done it. Because it was like Gauntlet 2 where he did it before, and he said his family and his friends gave him so much crap he wasn't doing it again. But with Alton, how big of a flex was it where he's like, yeah, I've got a giant dick and I can't do this?
That might be like, was that like the most memorable thing from Inferno 3?
It's literally the most memorable thing from Inferno 3 is Alton saying he's got a big dick and can't wear a Speedo.
We could do, if we wanted to, we could do Inferno 3 in like 10 minutes, whole season.
We really could.
There's only 3 things that happen.
We should have just done the recap show for that season on like the top 10 countdown they had at the
Dude, let's see the 3 things that happen. CT punches Davis and goes home. Timmy gets eliminated by Abert and gives the most epic goodbye speech in the history of the show. Alton doesn't want to wear a Speedo because he has a big dick. Done. That's the whole season.
I want us to do like a marathon recap like we did for Sexes.
No, never again.
I want to do it for some. There's really no season anymore that we could do it for.
No, we have to do for one of the first 4.
Because how long is the duel? How many episodes is the duel?
Duel 2 is 10 episodes. But they're pretty packed.
Yeah.
Especially the first
we could do it for the very first season, the Real World Road Rules.
Well, either the Road Rules All Stars or like Challenge 2000
episodes, and it's only like 20 minutes. It'd take like 30. Yeah, that'd be it. That's a great bonus episode for our Patreon one day. We can just review Road Rules All Stars.
What was the longest episode we've done?
Battle of the Sexes 1, easy. It was like 4.5 hours. Like,
don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
I mean, we chased away the 4th co-host. It was so bad. Like, he was gone. He was like, "Fuck this, I'm gone."
Do you think he listens to this?
No,
absolutely not. I bet you he does, dude.
Oh my god, what a train wreck that show was. It was awful.
What? How I don't want to say weird, but Corey wearing that girl dad shirt on like 2 days after the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, I thought was very like, I don't know. It was just something.
I didn't care. He's a girl dad. He's a girl dad.
I mean, I think it's not that I cared or didn't care, but I just thought it was like just funny how that synced up because like Kobe's obviously like the initiator of like the girl dad trope.
The hashtag.
And then I actually think I'd have to go back and look at it. But I think it was like a Kobe Bryant sponsored clothing, and the anniversary of his death was just 2 days ago.
Yeah,
or 1 day ago actually.
That's a weird coincidence for sure. Just a very strange coincidence.
So I think. I don't think Leroy was as impressive this time around as it was his first time. Maybe that's just how it was edited, but like still, I think he just dusted everybody in this elimination.
Oh, dude, I thought it was very impressive because if you just look through the editing a little bit, you can see that he didn't have a chance. He absolutely just.
I'm not saying he was like he was, but you should go back and rewatch the one he did on Exodus 2 then, because it's legitimately like. Just it's show stopping. Like you just have to pause.
Yeah,
you can't
I think it was him and what's the crazy chick that hit
Naya?
Naya. Yeah, he and Naya are up against Bananas and Nani, and Naya beats Nani, and Nani is like made it all the way, but got stuck.
She's got stuck on like a little branch.
Yep, and so Naya finishes, and Leroy starts. And Leroy's done before Nani's even moved again. Like it was like boom, 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 boom. It's over. And Bananas is just sitting there on his back going, I didn't do a single thing here and I'm going home. Like I'm literally dangling here and can do nothing and I'm gone.
Let's do our power rankings. Let me pull it up real quick. I'll go first. If I can find it. All right, here we go. So last week, like honestly, nothing really changed this week. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
At least for the people that are in contention, I'm gonna go chalk. I'm gonna keep it exactly the way that I had last week on all sides for the men.
I was gonna keep mine the same too. Honestly, if you just want to copy it over.
So I'm gonna go Fessy, Darrell, CT for the men. For the women, I'm gonna go Lolo, Casey, Cam. Overall, I'm gonna go. Yeah, maybe I would change it overall. Casey's looking pretty damn good.
I would have Casey over Lolo easily.
I'm still waiting for the Lolo meltdown. I'm still waiting for the Lolo meltdown. It's coming.
Casey just seems so much easier to work with than Lolo, and it's like.
I'll make that change. I'll go Casey, Lolo, Cam, and then for the overall, I'm going to go Fessy, Darrell. Or Fessy, dude, I might go Casey number 1 right now, out of all of them. Do I want to do that? So I'm going to go Casey, Lolo, Cam for the women, Fessy, Darrell, CT for the men. Overall, I mean, she's looking because she's going to make the final. It's just it's it's going to be interesting to see what happens when she gets her skull. But really, who is she afraid out of the people that she will most likely go against to get a skull?
Her removal would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be a good one. All right, screw it. I'm going to go Casey.
Why would you hesitate putting Casey over Fessy?
Yeah, you can't do that because Fessy already has a skull. I'm gonna go Fessy, Casey, Darrell. That's what I'm gonna go.
I feel like we're really Fessy's like being set up as like a Tony on Vendetta type season. Like, I think
exactly thinking.
Pretty much every season they have one competitor who's kind of like out in front and then just has some like failure that leads them not to win. I think that's Fessy.
I just don't think he can get it done. You know what I mean? Like, there's just some competitors. Like, could I see him winning? Possibly, but this season, no. I don't think he's shown enough that he's capable of winning this season.
I think with Paulie off the scene now, Fessy's like the one who's going to have the massive failure in the end that leads them not to win.
What you just said is, Trace, is exactly how I feel about Corey. Like, I just cannot see him winning. Like, I can't see him pulling it off.
I was always the same way about Corey. I was just very impressed by him last season, so I moved a little bit off of that. Not even a ton off of that, but a little bit off of that.
So you're going to keep yours exactly the same, Rob?
I would keep mine the same. I was thinking about putting Casey in there, but I have a weird. It's funny with Amber.
Oh, you don't have her in there at all.
No, I'd have her 4 right now. I was thinking about maybe moving down and like putting her up, or maybe moving around.
Amber B over her. Let's talk about that a little bit.
It's funny with Casey. Like, I get a vibe from Casey that I don't think she could win, and I get the opposite from Amber B.
Dude, so and you think Teresa has a better chance? And so just to say, Rob's 3 women right now in order of likelihood that they'll win. He has Cam, Amber B, then Teresa. So you think Teresa's in a better spot than Casey?
I think they're in a better spot. I just have, like, for whatever reason, I have a mental block with seeing Casey win.
I don't know. All right. So to say Rob's, just real quick, he has Darrell, CT, Leroy for the men, Cam, Amber B, Teresa for the women, and overall he has Darrell, Cam, CT. Trace, would you like to make any changes with yours, or do you want to keep them the same?
Well, I don't know if this is changes or not, so here's just my stream of consciousness. I still have Darrell 1, CT 2, but I would put in 3rd right now Leroy. I think he has come to play for his
pick. Trace, what are we doing?
I think the way he is being portrayed right now is that he really did come to win, and he's really serious about winning, and he probably should have won War on the Worlds too if the wonky final situation did not bear itself out the way it did. He probably would have gotten his win there. I think he is determined to go out with a win. Do I think he's going to get it? Not with Darrell and CT in the same final.
He needs to do something about Darrell then if he wants.
He's got to get rid of Darrell. He's probably got to get
rid of Darrell, or make sure Darrell is tied to like Anissa going into the final.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then on the women's side, gosh, you really could just like throw a rock at several of them and pick who could win. But with the information we have right now, I lean towards Casey 1, even though I don't think that's where I've had her at all going into this. So I would have to put.
You've had her. You've had her that for a while. Yeah, you had her last week, the week before. Dude, you've had her.
If I had her 1 almost the whole season, yeah, then I'm going to stick with Casey at 1. I think she is in control of what's happening in that Big Brother alliance. And for whatever reason, no one's attempting to really go after them yet. So she is reminding me, and Rob, don't kill me here, Casey is reminding me a lot of a female version of Wes right now. Like, just really has a handle on the political situation. And there's not even a sniff that she's going in right now.
None.
Like, I think Wes is just so much flashier than Casey.
I agree with you. Wes definitely makes more noise, but in terms of her political maneuvering, like, she's really playing this game well, and she did the same thing on Total
I think she's
Madness.
More like Turbo than she's like...
No, because Turbo's like this physical dominant...
Dude, Turbo has not ever been voted in.
He has no political game, though. No one wants to go against Turbo. No one wants to go against Turbo in an elimination.
Trust me, Turbo knows what he's up to. From
See, I think
post game interviews, Turbo knows what he's up to.
I think Turbo it does good at like staying under the radar, right? Not making like a lot of noise.
I think like Turbo, Darrell, and Casey all kind of like are up to the same stuff.
Yeah, it's a similar
I
game.
think Casey's probably a little bit more in control than those two are, but I think that it's a similar game plan.
Yeah. I think that politically she is controlling the Big Brother Alliance. And then on top of that, like the people that are against the Big Brother Alliance, they're not even thinking about throwing her in. They're focused on Fessy and Josh. So she is like a puppet master right now.
She's Josh hasn't really even got votes though.
Rob, would you say that Darrell or Turbo ever controlled an alliance?
No.
No. It's hard to say. On the War of the Worlds 1, who was like in quote unquote control. Or even like Darrell on Fresh Meat 1 was in a pretty strong position throughout.
Yeah, but he didn't really have to like control the politics though. That was
but I guess Theo was controlling the politics for that group. But
yeah, and the only time that Darrell came across as really being in control of politics, I don't even think he was. It just appeared like that way. Was Inferno 1 because it was him and Timmy, and who's the other guy that was Abe? So anyway,
but like, I don't think being in control is that important either. I guess Casey really in control of the Big Brother Alliance. She's definitely the coolest head.
She is undoubtedly in control of that alliance. Amber B has never played the challenge before, so she can't be it. And we're just Fessy and Josh, can you really see them being
I think if you poll Josh and Fessy, each of them would say they are in control of that alliance.
That's why she is the smartest one in that group, because she's letting them think that.
And we've gotten multiple confessionals from her this season about how she's like trying to like keep everything together with them. All right, so who do you have?
So Casey is 1. I would have to put Cam 2 just based on who has skulls and how they're performing. 3, I'm gonna keep. I might have had her in my top 3 before, and if she dropped out, she's back in. Nani is back in my top 3. I think
you had her last.
Big Nani fan over here from.
Yeah, I just you know what it is. It's a soft spot. It's a personal blind spot. So, but overall, Darrell, CT, Casey.
Okay. I mean, look, if this goes into the final as pairs, like we just don't know what's even going to happen. Do we think a steal the money twist is on the table this season?
No, I think they're going to have one female winner and one male winner like they did last year.
It's called Double Agents, though.
Those were different people were in charge. I'll say that. Like, I don't think they're going to do that. And if they do, I don't think it's going to be for. I don't know. It's getting to the point where I could see them doing it again. I don't think it's going to be this season, though.
It's just I was thinking about that. I'm like, it's called Double Agents. Like, are we overlooking that? Maybe
it's just hard for me to think that through because we've already had the case where we've kind of like I've done the play out of what could happen. There is an entire possibility that a teammate has a skull and the other one doesn't.
Well, but and how do you? They work down to 5 of each category. How can that happen?
They might not work. I mean, they're definitely working down to 5 of each category in skulls, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how many cast members are left on the final day.
Is like flying off the table, though. They have like nobody sticking around, and they need to fill so many episodes.
You think it would be likely? You think it would be likely at this point that there's going to be extra people around?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think we have a bigger chance of them doing the disadvantage grenade crap that I hate in the final, where. Oh, you came in first. You can hand a team of your choice a disadvantage.
I don't like that at all either.
I hate that crap, but I mean,
it's not as bad as here's 85% of the final. Okay, whoever was in first place, you get a 30-second head start. Here's the last 15%. But it's
so yeah, kind of like on Rivals 1 where Wes and Kenny smoked Johnny and Tyler.
That's what I think was like when we just point to straight wins as somebody's category. Like they did better on the final.
So we're through 7 episodes. If we assume that there's going to be 2 reunions and 2 episodes for the final, that means we have 8 people left going home. How many people do we have right now?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 22.
So that means 22 minus 8. What is that? That's
14.
14. So that would be
There'd
4
still
people.
be 7 people without skulls.
Well, if
No,
out of
be
those,
4.
there would be 4. So there would be 10 people that have skulls, 4 people that don't.
But that's not counting double eliminations, which we get almost every season. I don't know how it would work necessarily with this season.
They might do a purge. We don't know.
We don't know if they'll do a purge. We also don't know that it's going to be two episodes for the final and the reunion. Last season's final was just 1 episode.
I know. And we're just making some assumptions here. So that leaves them some wiggle room to get creative with some stuff. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
If I was looking at it, I think it's going to end up just being 5 and 5. I don't think anybody would launch.
I think you're probably right. Now that I'm doing the math right now, I think they'll probably
interesting once they get. I am just going to be very curious how they're going to handle these skulls once they get down that way. Like, are people with skulls going to be blocked from going in at some point, or how do we think it's going to shake out?
If they do the island twist, where if no skulls go in and you can steal a skull of your choosing, I'll honestly be pretty pissed.
Really?
How else do you want them to do it?
Loser goes home.
What?
How else do you want them to do it?
I think you have to grab somebody with a skull and call them out. Like, I think that.
Yeah, but that's such a disadvantage than the people who already got skulls.
But I think that's why some of the cast members are playing the game the way they are. Like, they're really trying to.
That could be why, but I wouldn't personally like that at all. That you're giving such a huge disadvantage to people who already went in and got a skull.
It's also possible that 2 people without skulls end up against each other when all of the skulls are taken for them in too, right?
That's what I'm saying. How do they handle that issue?
Yeah, that's the only option. Either that, or you just have a dud episode.
I don't think they can make it where you have to take somebody. You have to like put somebody in elimination and take their skull. I think that's such a disadvantage to people who have skulls.
Well, then what happens to the person who won their skull, and then let's say 2 people without skulls go in the final elimination, and then somebody gets their skull stolen, and they don't even get a shot at redemption on it because that's the end of the game.
Why it's probably going to work its way down to 5 and 5.
So in the last one, it would be guaranteed that at least one person with a skull would be
whoever wins keeps the last.
Yeah, skull. I think they're definitely going to try and work it. So those are the numbers at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it would behoove them to do that. Like, it really would, just from not just a fairness perspective, but like there is a point where some of these people won't come back because of the way production has done some things. And if you're the person that has earned your skull and 2 people without skulls go at it for the final elimination and they steal your skull and you go home with nothing, I'd be pretty pissed that they allowed that to happen.
I think most of this cast is pretty happy to go on. Like, Sarah is one situation, but like, the show screws people over all the time.
All right. Anything else? Any final thoughts? Any housekeeping? I don't think we have any housekeeping.
No, well, we do have housekeeping. I have the user asked me to keep their name off of the show, but we have picked our winner for the free T-shirt. They have been contacted, and their T-shirt will be in the mail tomorrow. So congratulations to our winner. We'll be doing another contest again here soon. But thanks for playing, and we'll come up with a different way for the next one.
Do we have any DMs or emails or anything?
Let me check our email.
I have no DMs at the moment. So yeah, you can always DM me on Twitter at Trace B Armstrong. If you want to just chat the challenge or just say, hey, always feel free to open up my inbox. I'm always willing to reply. It might
What happened?
A couple days, but I will reply.
No, what was that?
Dude, remember how that was so weird? All right.
What?
So am I looking at this right? So
what happened?
I'm so confused by what's happening.
Remember when like, dude, I think Gmail is playing tricks on us. So remember like a few months ago, I told you guys that I saw that we got an email and I was really excited because I just read in the subject line, it said Survivor Turkey, right? That's all I read. And then I like refreshed my email and then it vanished. Gone, right? Like completely gone. Like not there. Like I looked in spam, I looked in trash, looked everywhere.
It's
not
gone.
there. Just vanished. I refresh our Gmail right now, right? Go in there. It's there at the top of the queue. It says it got there at 5:02 p.m.
Maybe. Are you sure they just didn't?
And it's unread. What the fuck?
Oh, I just opened that now.
Oh, you did, dude?
Yeah.
That was the one, Rob. Unless she sent it again. Unless she sent it.
I think they probably
ago.
sent it again because we didn't read it.
Unless she sent it again months ago, pulled it back. Because can you still do that with Gmail? Can you still pull back emails?
I've tried it.
I've done that before.
So.
I think you can do it in Gmail. As long as it's Gmail to Gmail, you can do it.
Well, what
at
was
least
it? What does it say?
All right, we got to hear what it says. Survivor Turkey.
Literally nothing. Which it's what was the
Oh God!
Did you see this, Trace?
No, I haven't read it. I don't ever check our email.
Oh my God! All right, it's my God.
All right, this has got a lot of. No way, this is going to live up to the hype now.
No, I think no. The last part is all right. So
Okay.
the first part is like nothing. The end is, dude, I'm almost crying. It's all right. So the first part is, what was the episode you guys talked about the guy dying on Turkish Survivor? ? And so that was not Turkish. It was Rob. What was it?
Bulgarian Survivor, right?
I thought it was Turkish.
No, it's not Turkish. It was.
Oh no, you're right. It wasn't Turkish. It was
Romanian. Yes.
No, it was like was it? Wasn't
What
Belarus?
Survivor
Was it Bulgaria? I think it was Survivor Bulgaria.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was Bulgaria.
I thought you said Romania.
No,
I did
Bulgaria.
for the second time. I'm talking. My original guess was Bulgaria because I really remembered it.
This still kills me when you just scroll down and it says fourth voted out, died, left, fifth voted out.
And then the host quit. Like it was just this complete shit show from start to finish.
All right. So if anyone can track down a version of that with subtitles of that episode, I'll give them $20 if they.
Yeah, because I remember you found on Daily Motion the episode, but there is literally no subtitles. You just watch it, and it's horrific.
It's a horror movie. It is.
And then the next episode, we find out the host quit, and it's like there's another guy there hosting the show. Imagine a season of Survivor where Jeff Probst gets off. He's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going home."
How do you air that? You just gotta stop production.
Yeah,
I would imagine that the broadcast standards in Bulgaria are not quite to the same standards and practices of most other countries.
Who wants to watch that though?
I don't think CBS would air that if that happened for America.
Definitely not. Imagine being the estate of Nacho Voter, whatever his name is, and your family's watching that, and you die because this reality TV show mishandled you.
I have a feeling that if that happened on a season, they are shutting down production. The season is over. The people that are left in the game get invited back, but they reshuffle the format and everything. There's no way.
Well, there's also definitely a lawsuit, right?
I don't know though. It depends.
I think you send everybody home. Everybody gets $1 million.
No.
I think that's what you end up having to do.
Everyone gets $1 million.
It'd be like
seriously.
Jeff Probst says Oprah, you get $1 million and you get $1 million.
A guy died because you guys mishandled the show.
Dude, I don't even think the winner of that season probably got $1 million. I bet that the winner
of that season.
Whatever
they get on Survivor Bulgaria.
Well, it's Eastern Europe, so I doubt it's $1 million.
$150K, whatever they get.
I need to start picking up that season.
Wasn't it an obscene amount of episodes too? It's 40 plus episodes of the season.
I don't know about that. No, that was
it was something absurd.
For Australian Survivor, that second season that I was watching for a while, it was 20 to 30 episodes. It was something in there. It was really good too. It was just a lot.
It's just too much for me. That's a big commitment.
They got 250,000 leva. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's what they got for winning that season.
So not even close to $1 million.
Well, I have no clue what that is. What's that in American money?
Definitely not $1 million. Probably. I bet it's $100,000 maybe.
All right, let's get to the end of this email. So it starts. Have you seen this yet, Trace?
No, I haven't read it. I'm
all right. So it starts. What was the episode you guys talked about? The guy dying on Turkish Survivor? ? Also, F Rob, M Rob, K Rob, Lucy. Do you get it?
I'm so confused right now.
Dude, she said, like, you know how people do fuck, marry, kill? That's what she's doing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm all in now. I'm all in.
Dude, Rob, this girl's got a crush on you.
Is that what
So-
that works out to, or is that anti-me?
Okay,
I
so
think
hold
that's
on
pro
now.
you.
So read the last part again, because I feel like I need to absorb this better now.
It's she literally puts the letter F, Rob, then the letter M in caps. FMK are in caps. Then next line M, Rob. Next line capital K, Rob.
Oh,
So-
wow. So she wants to
All right.
love you, fuck you, and kill you. I don't know.
All right,
Maybe
all
you
right,
need
all
a
right.
restraining order.
All right,
I'm
so
usually a very
I will do this.
controversial
No, this
figure.
is what we're gonna do. So if she listed her name here, so I'm gonna say her name, her first name at least, because that's what she listed in the body of the email. Her name is Lucy. So I will say this, Lucy, if you live somewhere that is Tracy, split this with me. If it's $125 plane flight or less, we will fly you to Washington, D.C. to go on a date with Rob.
This is post-pandemic, of course.
Sure. We will fly you there. You got to pay for your food. You got to pay for your
we will
hotel,
fly
whatever.
you to DC. All right, yeah, I would be in on that. I'd do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
$60
that'd be
each.
freaking
We'll
hilarious.
do that. I would that
There's
story
a
that will come out
Southwest
of
want
that.
to get away fare. I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Yeah, that $60 is worth whatever comes out of that for me. Like I want to see where this goes. I'm invested. So please respond and let us know where you are, and tell me the story about what happened at the initial email, because that's honestly probably what I want to know more about. Is what happened.
How did that get put at the bottom of the email?
What happened? And then reappear at the top, dude. Isn't that bizarre? I think that's the
It has
most,
to be she just sent it twice.
or that she pulled it back. I think that's most
Well,
obvious.
no, I think she sent it and then she pulled it back or whatever, and then she sent another email.
Yeah, that's what I think happened. Maybe she like unknowingly pulled it back. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I've had that happen before, honestly, because they have a send button and you can click an undo right there.
That's fair. That's true. That is true. I just seen that in my Gmail now. So you can undo it, and then there's a queue that like holds drafts. It holds it back as a draft. So maybe it got resent again. So anyway, good times. Great email, Lucy. If anybody else wants to send us another great email like that, we will read it, because I am highly entertained by this.
That might be the best email we've ever gotten, to be honest. And it was very simple too. So you can reach us at the Challenge Chronicles at gmail.com. You can tweet at Rob or Trace. They'll get it back to us. Rob, what were you going to say?
No, I was just trying to find a spot to watch Turkish Survivor for our upcoming date. So
Bulgarian.
Bulgarian Survivor, excuse me.
Yeah, hopefully someone sends it to us by then. All right. Anything else?
No, I think we're good, man. Good times.
All right. Thank you for listening. Like I said before, you may have an episode before we talk to you again about episode 8 of Challenge Told Us. I was going to say Told Them Out. Double Agents. We may do one before then about the OG season. Should come out sometime next week. If not, talk to you next Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Thanks for listening. Bye.